Up to 6,000 workers die every day and more than 2 million workers die annually as a result of work-related accidents and diseases. That's according to the International Labour Organization. The International Labour Organization statistics have revealed that more workers die of work-related accidents than in wars or natural disasters. Tonight on Moments, we look at what compensation there is from people who die or suffer injuries from workplace-related circumstances. Bonale, this is something that is very scary because, you know, anybody can be involved in an accident at work, and that one moment can literally alter the course of your life, you know. So if there isn't adequate compensation given, then, you know, and if someone can't now go out and earn an income, it's a very dicey situation.
It is, and you know, I have an aunt who, she had an accident at work and she fell and she hurt her wrist, and, you know, she wasn't able to, she was a nurse and she wasn't able to work for a while. And it was very interesting because, you know, her employer, they kept going back and forth with her, but they did offer some sort of compensation for her, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't enough. And it was a situation where she's still receiving physical therapy for the accident. And I just thought to myself, I was like, man, this is so unfortunate. It's so disheartening. And she was even lucky because there are a lot of circumstances where the employer will say, you know, your contract staff, or, you know, they'll say, well, they'll pay for your hospital bills. But the question is, do they compensate you after that when you cannot work and you're prevented from actually being able to carry out your duties?
Yes, and I think contracts are so important in this case as well, because a lot of the time, you know, in the fine print, it's stated that if anything does happen, maybe there's a limited amount of compensation, but not a lifetime amount. And so if people don't read through the contracts properly, oftentimes, you know, they're left to bear the brunt.
In situations, this is, you know, Nigeria. There are a lot of people who they wouldn't even abide by the contract. You know, we live in a society where people feel like they can get away with a lot of things, which is the reason why we're having this conversation today on the show, to say people do need to abide by their contracts, and there need to be proper laws put in place, and the laws need to be abided by to make sure that people are compensated in case they have any types of accidents. Now, our first guest on the show is Samuel Anyanwu, who is a perfume dealer, and he was hurt on his job. We're going to meet him after this break. Welcome back to Moments Nigeria. In the studio with us is our first guest, Samuel Chukwuma Anyanwu. He's a perfume dealer who lost his right hand and some of his fingers of his left hand amputated after he was hurt on a job, and he was actually an engineer when this happened. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Moments.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming. So please just share your story with us and tell us what happened.
Okay, my name is Samuel Anyanwu Chukwuma. Graduate of Federal University of Technology, with metallurgical and material engineering. During my youth service, I was working to manufacture oil filters. I work on the machines that cut and shape metal sheets into a cup shape for filters. Actually, the engineers, the expatriates, were like impressed and were like, I should be in charge. Then they left and I was taking control of the company. On that fateful day, something just happened. 6 of the machines just went down flat. So work was like hectic. Started fixing each. I was given an ultimatum to fix every for the night work. After I already finished the 6th one and I was like about going home, when my boss was like, I'm going to do night to make sure this machine still stay working. I was like, ah. Then I noticed I forgot a tool inside the last machine I fixed. So I had to like go back, switch it on back, put it on safety, then enter inside to get it out. Like maybe somebody passing, they know someone was in there.
Can you describe what kind of machine it is that you're mentioning that you have to enter into?
They call it, to break it down, it's like a mold machine. It's molds, if you should know, a filter for a car or an engine, it's like a cup shape. So the machine takes out a flat metal sheet and folds and cuts. Like if it's cutting bread, so easy. When the machine came on, I felt something pressing my head, so I quickly came out. Before I could come out, my right hand got caught in it, and out of a reflex action, I had to put my left. So the second layer of the cutter chopped off the left finger.
Wow, absolutely. And what was, were you in shock when it happened? Did people crowd around to help? What was the immediate aftermath of the incident?
It was like I was dreaming. Then, so I found myself shouting in crowd where people came around, and unfortunately for me, the other engineers were not on board.
Okay.
I couldn't pull out my hands because it was the other side of from the wrist. The other side was half inside and was dangling with the veins and the arteries.
So what about the medical care? Did someone, was there, you know, like you don't really have ambulances so much in Nigeria?
So it sounds as if what you're saying was no one knew what to do.
No one knew what to do. Then, unfortunately for me, the gen went off.
Wow. So you were in all that pain, and there was just...
I was like, and I told some boys, the casual workers, that, okay, they should get my tools, that we're going to loosen this stuff, that I can't afford to pass out. We tried dismantling the machine, which basically would take like hours. Got to a point, the gem came up, so I told them to assemble it back, opened up the machine, came out. And
your hand was stuck in the machine this whole time that you were trying to figure out what to do?
Were you stuck in there for?
For like close to 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
Wow.
It was quite long.
And you're losing blood. And
you're losing blood,
Absolutely awful. And so in the aftermath of this horrible accident, what was your company's response to you in terms of, you know, first of all, an apology, and also in terms of compensation? How did they react from a legal and management point of view?
Well, after being rushed to the hospital, we took hours to get to the hospital. I was admitted. Then the owner of the company came like the next day. I was like, I shouldn't worry. They're going to do this, do that. I think will be. They paid for the hospital bill, which wasn't that much. Then I now requested that I needed an official hand, a good one. They said, okay, no problem. After the hospital, when I was discharged, kept on asking. I worked with them for a while, consulting with the bandage immediately. Okay,
so you went back to work
immediately.
Afterwards.
Yeah. Then my church, St. John's Falomo Church at Ikoyi, the Reverend then was alive, Reverend Ezediaro, just got tired of their promises and was like, they should raise funds to take me to UK.
Really? So the company...
he actually approached the company with the lawyers.
Okay.
That they should assist, even though it's a little. They're not telling them to pay for the bill, they just want them to just do something, support.
I want to ask, in terms of your employment contract, was there any provision in that for injury caused on the job? Did you look through or afterwards when it happened and you were trying to get compensation, was there anything in there that could help?
Oh yeah, there was. And actually, when I just finished, I was given my letter of employment.
Yes.
So during the accident, the letter came up from the insurance company. They had to do a rush hour insurance on me. And the insurance company came up with something like 670,000 naira, saying it's too early, and that's what they can afford. That's what it's in provision for me. The company was like, okay, they're going to top it.
Okay.
Something, but nothing came out of it.
Really?
So I only got that from the insurance company. And
did you consider suing them at that point when they were making promises but nothing was actually coming out of those promises?
I was actually I was about to take them to court after. When I come back from the UK after the treatment. That was the whole plan with the lawyers and everything. But when I came back with this.
Your prosthetic.
A prosthetic and a mechanical one that could move. I approached the owner. He was like, I should give him time. Gave him like 6 months. Went again. I should give him time. And my sister was like, we should move on. That if we're going to take them to court, we'll take them to court, but I should find out something to do with my life. That was when gave me the idea of this business.
And doing perfume dealing.
So I didn't bother. I just looked at the bright side. And
Do you think that, you know, ever since you moved on, have you had any communication with your former employer, and have they reached out to you? And I understand. I'm assuming there was also wanting to let go and release the person emotionally. But do you think there was a way where you could actually have dealt with them legally, despite the fact that you felt like you wanted to move on with your life?
Yeah, for sure. And they were scared.
Okay.
They were scared. He kept on sending, he sent the manager, the MD, he sent people to like assure me, because he was scared when he found out that I was about to take the company to court. But my kind of person nature, I let go.
And you wanted to let go emotionally, legally, everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to Moments, where we're talking about getting hurt while at work. Our second guest on the show tonight is Farooq Abass. He's a managing partner at Abdul Salam Abass & Co. He deals in labor and employment law, commercial litigation, property law, and alternate dispute resolution, and also family law. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to me.
Thank you so much for having us. And you know, you heard Samuel's story.
Yes, I did.
So from a legal perspective, what could have been done differently, or how could he have really dealt with his employer before it actually drug out so long and it came to the point where, you know, Samuel personally decided that he just wanted to let go of the situation?
Well, in determining what step to take from a legal perspective, we need to know when it occurred, because as you're aware, there's an Employees Compensation Act which came into force in 2010. And if it was between 2010 and now, the steps he will have taken will be different from if it was prior to 2010.
Okay.
So maybe I should take it from assuming that it was prior to 2010. If it was prior to 2010, the regime that we had in place then was the Workmen Compensation Act. And the law was very defective in various respects. And in terms of compensation, what the law provided for was that when you have any injury at work that leads to partial disability or permanent disability, your employer, or leads to death, your employer will just give you a lump sum, you know. Typically, the lump sum is always maybe about 2 to 3 years salary, you know, and after the lump sum, that's the end. They don't give you any other thing, you know. Okay. But because of the deficiencies in the law and various lapses, because the law did not cover all employees. It only covered certain workmen, and you know, so there were some employees that could not claim under that act. So based on those deficiencies, the Employee Compensation Act was enacted by Parliament. And when the Employee Compensation Act was enacted, it covers all forms of employees, whether oral contract or formal contract, whether you're a temporary staff or you're a casual worker or whatever, it covers everybody. And the compensation for in that particular regime is very robust. And although it's a little bit cumbersome, but it's robust in the sense that from the story itself, which is a very emotional story, what I can see is he has a permanent total disability, you know, and in terms of his hands, of course, you know. And what the law says about that is that he's supposed to get 90% of his monthly income until he's 55, until he retires.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And if he's above 55, I don't know his age, he's just going to get it for 2 years, you know. And if he was dead, what the law says is that your beneficiaries will get 90% of your salary throughout their lifetime. And you know, under the Employee Compensation Act, you have different forms of disabilities that could occur. You know, the first one is death, injury that leads to death. You have permanent, you have total permanent disability. Then you have temporary permanent disability. Then you have temporary permanent disability, and you also have temporary partial disability. You know, so for temporary, what the law says is that it gets 90% of what it will have gotten if he were to be working.
Let's rewind and talk about contracts. While the person is negotiating an employment contract, what clauses can they put in place to ensure they're protected if any form of injury does occur while they're on the job?
Yes, under this current dispensation, all you just need to ensure is, because the Employee Compensation Act says that all employers must contribute 1% of their total payroll for a month to a particular fund. And the fund is being managed by NSITF, you know, management board, you know, manages the fund. So if your employer contributes 1% to that fund, then whenever any incident or accident occurs, automatically you can pull from that fund, because the management board of the NSITF will disburse the funds to you. But if there's a lacuna now, because you know the law is still recent, so we've not had a lot of litigation on it so far. So, but if your employer doesn't contribute to the fund, it would be, I mean, it would not be reasonable or logical for you to want to draw from that pool of funds. So I think the basic due diligence, and I'm sure when you go for interviews, the employers ask you, okay, so do you have any questions for us? I mean, I think one question will be, so are you complying with the Employee Compensation Act? Because, you know, the law covers a lot of employees and the enforcement is not so strong because the body managing it is the NSITF Management Board, you know, and to the best of my own knowledge and my own personal view, I feel that that body does not have the resources, both financial and manpower, to ensure implementation of that law. So what you have is that a lot of companies don't comply with that law in terms of making contribution.
So Samuel, how would you say, you know, your quality of life is now, you know, having been through this and having, you know, moved to a second career? I know in the break we were kind of talking a bit and you're saying, you know, you feel you can still do everything, you can knot your tie, you can tie your shoes, you know, you've adapted, you know, to your new circumstance, but, you know, how would you describe it?
Well, just into my new style of life, it's kind of, I see myself as being better. I've achieved better. I see it as being better. That's just close.
If you had the opportunity and the ability, would you go back and make the same decision in not taking legal action against your employer? Now that there's a new law.
Yeah, I'll go back and I'll like take action against them.
Well, thank you so much, Samuel, for coming on the show and sharing your story.
Right,
and also, we really admire your courage, you know, in having the ability to let go and just having a new countenance in life. Thank you very much, Samuel. But Abass is still with us and will be joined by another guest, a human resource expert, Uju OPARA.
The title of the show tonight on Moments is Hurt on the Job, and we're joined by our third guest, Uju OPARA. She has vast experience in human resources management, having worked with several human resources consulting firms. She's a partner at Willis Solutions Limited, and she's also one of the active directors of the company. Uju, welcome to
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you so much.
So I'd like to know, have you ever worked at a firm, you know, where there was a case of a staff member being injured on the job? And if so, how did the company respond to the incident?
Well, I think the first question is if the company, you know, maintains a group life insurance policy. It makes it a lot easier, you know, for compensating, employees who get hurt on the job or who die, you know, while in the process of their jobs, you know. So that's like the major challenge. Okay, I'll just start with a recent one that I worked with. It was an outsourced staff. He's a field sales executive. So his core job function is really to go, you know, door to door, meet clients and, you know, engage them and bring businesses on board. And we got a call from the office that he had an accident and he died instantly. Wow. I mean, that was really, really terrific, and it was really traumatizing for both, you know, his family and all of that, you know. But thankful, I mean, the company, you know, maintains a group life insurance policy. It was easier for us to refer to them and lay claims, you know.
You heard Samuel's story?
Yes.
And you know what happened to him. And in that circumstance, what role would HR technically have to play? Because I think a lot of us, and I personally come from the perspective that I know that at any company, they would probably more likely be looking out for their own interest versus the employee's interest. And there's that fear that they might get sued. There's that fear, you know, that the company would lose a lot from the fact that this employee has been hurt while on the job. So technically, how do HR, you know, departments actually handle these circumstances when it does happen on the job?
You know, first of all, it would be a lot easier if the HR department has a very good relationship with the staff. I mean, managing them emotionally, you know, so of course they don't just go run out and press charges and all. That's the first step. And we also need to realize that the HR department actually reports to the management. You know, there's some discussions that happen behind in the scene that you don't know. There's really much, you know, the HR can do if the company is not compliant with these, you know, regulations.
Do you think there is enough awareness, you know, from companies and the government about employee rights?
No, really, totally no. Because I've engaged several employees and I realized that what they're really after is their net income. I mean, their take home, the credit alerts. They do not take out time or to ask relevant questions on the total breakdown of their package. What am I entitled to? What are my compensations? What are my leave options? You know, am I entitled to HMO? Am I, you know, is the company compliant with group life insurance policy? These are questions that you need to ask at the point of interview or before you even, you know, sign on your offer of employment letter.
Now, Mr. Abass, you know, from a legal perspective, and you work on the side where, you know, you're providing assistance to people who have been injured on the job. How do you feel that companies can be more accommodating when things like this happen? And is there a way where companies can work well with their employees so people don't feel like they have to take it all the way to the highest court?
Yes, she made a very valid point, and the point is that HR has a primary responsibility to have a good relationship with the employee. Because of the way the economy is, you know, even employers, they don't care about the employees. Everybody just cares about doing the job. They don't care, are you married, do you have a child, have you paid for your rent, do you have issues at home? Everybody just says do the work, you know. So if you can be more compassionate, you know, it's not about the money. If you have a good relationship, even when you owe salaries, if you have a good relationship with them and they know that the company is also not doing fine, they will work with you willingly. So I think that's compassion.
That's
yes,
important.
it's
Mr.
very,
Abass, really quick before we go, can you just share your details in case any of our viewers are watching and they are seeking legal counsel because maybe they've been hurt on their job and they would like to actually pursue it in court?
Oh yeah, they'll check on the internet. My name is, my name on the Google. Internet is so easy now. You can get anybody's. My contact details are available on the internet. You know.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abass and Miss OPARA, for talking to us and explaining those complicated kind of legal literature, but you explain it really well. Thank you. Welcome back to Moments Nigeria. Our topic today is hurt on the job, and in a nutshell, what I've learned about this is that prevention really is better than cure. We never know, what's going to happen when we're at work, and most of us spend, we spend, I would say, 70% of our lives at work. So it's important to really look through that employment contract. Don't just be worried about your pension or your, your take-home pay at the end of the month. It's important to, see if your company has those structures in place. So if God forbid anything does happen, you're protected, and the burden isn't so much on your loved ones. As Samuel was saying, when it happened to him, and his church had to rally around, and his family had to rally around, which is totally fine. But I think the company also has a huge responsibility.
I completely agree with you, Tallulah. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Moments Nigeria. We hope that you've been educated and also enlightened on the access to workers' compensation if you have been hurt on a job. Always remember,
if you can think it, you can do it.